scratch himself. Starting the first business, he took a loan out. So it's not as if he got endowed with anything. So from learning from a person who has nothing behind him and not a father figure to support, in times.
So you were like a first generation so-called.
No. I'm second generation, but
the father and the grandfather were the first generation.
Father was the first generation. So seeing a person who's got no backing, education like maybe you guys are getting, and yet becoming a success
whatever
in life.
He became.
Yeah. So I think pure discipline.
But let's just go back. I need to go back to that DNA, and let's talk about your father first, right?
Sure.
Because these were you were looking at a man who was, I'm assuming, working 14-15 hours a day, 7 days a week. And today, although you are that Gen Z.
No, I'm a millennial.
You're a millennial?
I'm not a Gen,
all right,
Gen
okay.
Z.
But the tenets of business is deep rooted in the fact that the first 10 years you have to go out there and toil it.
Yeah.
Has that changed?
No.
Between how you processed your early years right now vis-a-vis how he worked?
I think I'm an old soul inside.
Okay.
I feel as much as I'm closer in age to maybe Gen Z and millennials, I feel there are certain parts of business that you can disrupt and innovate on, but there are certain fundamentals to business that one shouldn't play with, right? You might be the most intelligent person, but if you're not hardworking, it doesn't really matter, because a burst would not help. You have to be consistent for a decade to win in life,
and then fall 10x times in that decade.
That has to happen.
Yeah.
You won't learn otherwise. So I think because he did things himself, but he didn't bring his work home, right, as much. So but you could see the dedication he had for his work and the dedication he had for his family as well. So whatever he was doing, he was present. Right, he's not distracted.
Got it.
So when he's home, he's with his kids, and when he's at work, he's at work. Right. So I think sometimes if you're not focused, you will bring your work home, and you will take your home to your work, which I think is simple enough, but people do that.
Yeah, most of these guys troll me because I also kind of believe there is just no alternative to. Forget that hard work, smart work kind of conjecturing, but it's hard work over a period of time is equal to success in that year, and then take it from there and hard work over a period of time and build up on that success. There is just no alternate to that.
You have to be paranoid.
Yeah.
You can't rest on what's done. So when I talk to my team, whatever business we've done up to now, I said that's behind.
It doesn't mean the next quarter is going to be as good.
It doesn't mean anything. You have to win people's trust every single day by your actions, by your words, and your trust will get built, and you will get the the benefit of that over time. But don't expect it.
You entered, I'll tell you what I like about you, right? You entered a market where the big boys were, right? You also entered a market where the spirits dominate the Indian market, right? I think 70%, if I'm not mistaken?
70%.
70%,
yes.
Right? And in that, the other guys are dominating either the 5%, 6%, or in some case, the 2%. That means the gin market, which is non-existent, I would say. Right? The wine market is a very small market in India, and you can get your wines and produce wines. It's a very, very small niche market.
Yes.
But you entered the big boy whiskey market, where 300 rupees to whatever, right?
Right.
Where did this kind of thought come from to disrupt the big boys?
So let me ask them a question first.
Yeah, sure.
And I'll come to the answer for this. What do you guys think a typical Indian or an average Indian, if there are 100 people walking in a store, what would the average buy price be for a whiskey bottle, a 750 ml whiskey bottle?
Can I make a guess?
No.
It's for them?
No, it's for them. It's for them.
70.
What?
70 out of 100? What are you saying?
No,
what is your answer?
Price of the bottle?
I'm talking about
If
price.
70
go ahead.
rupees for 750 ml.
It will be
No, that's not possible.
1.5 to
1200.
1.5 to 2,000.
1.5 what?
1,000.
1000. So he's saying 1500 to 2000.
1500 to I didn't understand. 1500 to 2000 what?
2,500.
Is the price that he's saying an average Indian buys?
An average Indian buys alcohol worth 1,500 to 2,000. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
In my opinion, that's
500.
totally wrong.
700 to 800.
700 to 800?
Sorry, Shivam, your question was for one bottle.
One bottle.
750 ml.
If 100 people are walking into a...
What would the average price be?
What would be the average
of a
price
bottle be?
1200.
12.
You think 1,200? May I?
Please.
And you're taking the entire Bharat and India.
India
300 to 400 at best.
So it.
I'm not taking country liquor.
Country liquor is out of the window.
Huh.
So 80% or 80 people will be 500 or below,
There you go.
right?
500 and below.
500 and below. This is North India pricing.
Yeah.
So, but for 750 ml bottle, how it can be 300 or more?
Because of the brands which are present. So again, you are... you know it better. Why should I? It's again, the pricing in Haryana is very different to, let's say, a pricing in Bombay, Pune, Goa, Jammu Kashmir, South Tamil Nadu is very different. As much as 3x, 4x price difference. So we are taking the base rate.
No.
Am I right?
Yeah. So basically, typically like a 500 whiskey in the north of India at least would be like slightly 1.5x in Bombay, 2x in Bangalore, right? So I'm saying we're in North India, so I'm speaking that language. Now you are assuming 1500, 2000. So firstly, one has to, when someone is building a business, you have to get out of what you think, right? Forget what you think, it doesn't matter because you're not the customer, right? And of course, even whatever price point you want to play in, please, learn the market data properly first before you spend 1 rupee because it's free of cost, right? Get to people, talk to people, go to the market, understand, don't assume. As you might be very smart, but don't assume. Because I think the biggest...
But the college did not teach you this.
Sorry, no.
Market realities taught you this.
Market realities teach you this, but fortunately, I was, I did a 2-year grind before I started my business.
Very nice. Very
Right,
nice.
so I traveled in 5-7 states with my mentor and actually saw what's very shiny in the outside, what's actually on the inside.
So I'll obviously I'm way older than you, so मैं ज्ञान दे सकता हूँ आपको भी. In India, only 2 or 3 types of businesses work, if you ask me. One type of business is if you produce in INR and sell in dollars. The price arbitrage, which you cannot get, right? Any business. That means any export oriented.
Right.
Right? The second is distribution led.
Right. That's
Right?
what we are.
Distribution led businesses, which kind of work. And third, in my opinion, anything in finance. Because the cost of capital, from that perspective, if you are an NBFC
Right.
and everything is leveraged, people want that kind of money.
Right.
So people have greater margins in those finance, fintech.
Right now, yes.
I'm talking today.
It's not
today.
available.
From that,
penetrate at that level.
because at the end of the day, money is scarce in India.
Yes.
It's not that you have a free flow
Yes.
of kind of money. So these are the three, right? And Woodsmen, because it is in the bracket of spirits, is a very distribution
Heavy.
business.
Yeah. It is led by that.
Yeah.
To even say the 500 points, say maybe an average Zomato order would be under 500 again. Right? The average price for lipstick in India would be under 500.
Yeah.
Right? So you can maybe Mamaearth went to IPO. Look at their average price of their Upton face wash, not a basket and single SKU,
Yeah.
and then look at the price of that. So you will understand if you want to build a large business in India, the market has to be very, very, very deep.
But you entered a market, in my opinion, is big boys, regulated,
yeah,
state subject,
yes,
complex state subject,
yes,
and SIND product,
Yes.
and yet highest revenue for states.
yes.
Kyun?
So I think I'm a person who's contrarian in general, right? So I feel what is very, very difficult to build will become my moat in the future and will be easier to defend right? Because if it's so hard in someone's head,
99% of the people walk out.
so there will be people who have 100, 500,000 crores will not dare to enter this space, even with all the money in the world, because it's not about money. It's about your intent and how long are you willing to.
So as a person, if I kind of decode you, Shivam, tell me something. That's the fact that it is difficult, right?
I like that.
You like that.
Yeah.
And then there's persistence.
That you require in any field. Na? So if I have to, if I don't, the reason why I'm in the biggest market is I want to be number one. If someone thinks of India and someone thinks of spirits, say 10 years from now, my name should pop up, right? And my brand should rather pop up. And for that to happen, you have to play with the big boys.
I don't consume alcohol,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
But I'm very fascinated by people who build businesses like this. Correct me if I'm wrong. At every segment, 0 to 500 would be X segment of, let's say, whiskeys available in India.
Yeah.
500, I'm assuming, to 1000 would be one.
Yeah.
1000 to 1500 would be another.
Yes.
And each category would be defined as something,
Yeah, some terminology.
premium, deluxe, blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah. Am I right?
Correct.
And then 2000 rupees above would be another kind of category, right?
Right.
India A, India B, India C, India D, right? If you look at the per capita income, right? And then you look at the space at least which you are in. If you ask me, you've already defined a super category, right? You're giving premium, in my opinion,
Yeah.
at a price point which is affordable across India and Bharat.
Correct.
Is my understanding correct?
Correct.
How did you derive this aspect? Because there are brands who are only playing there
Yeah.
or have a vertical integration.
So if you look at single malts that are available in the market, you or maybe an average consumer does not know, but they will have a backbone. Otherwise, they will not be well distributed.
Correct.
Right. So you know a particular brand, but that company does distribution for multiple. They have a portfolio, and they will have, if it's a successful large business, main business will not come from the single malt. That's the flagship, right? So they will have a backbone somewhere, and if you just see their balance sheets, you'll understand.
So if you take these big boys like let's say Diageo, Pernod, and Khaitan,
Radico
Khaitan,
ABT.
right? So when India, what you're saying is India integration on top, the hero product would be here.
Yeah.
And everything are support actors.
Correct.
Am I right?
So look at say Diageo, 30,000 crore gross revenue is sitting on the back of USL, built by Vijay Mallya.
But that's gross revenue.
No. I'm saying gross revenue.
Gross.
Net would be 1/3.
1/3 of
Roughly 1/3 or 40% of that. But it's sitting on the back.
But just for the audience, can you explain to them the gross and net revenue?
So if you deduct excise duty and VAT from your revenue, that will bring it down to net revenue.
So you can imagine.
So we are actually working for the government.
Correct. So 70% is going from the factory level straight to the government. That's what he's saying.
70%.
So
66, 65,
yeah.
varying from state
to state.
So biggest contributor to the state, one of the biggest. Maybe petrol is number one. We are number two.
Yeah. And he cannot change his price because he will only get 1 rupee out of the 3 rupees. The 2 rupees is going to the government. Am I right?
So I think the roads, we're building the roads as well.
Yeah. And then people get drunk and get killed on that road. I love it. But that's what he's kind of saying. Understand? That's very, very important for you to also know. So his profitability comes on the net revenue.
Net revenue.
Yeah. So 1 rupee pay, everything else kind of gets loaded.
Even finance-wise, it's a difficult business.
Yeah.
Because you need the working capital for the gross.
So right.
Whereas you're making money
on the net, right? So from a cash flow perspective, everything is on the 1 rupee and not necessarily on the 3 rupees, right?
Yeah.
Correct.
So
So
again, not easy.
very, totally kind of agree. This brand is about almost 2 years old now?
2.5.
2.5,
Yeah.
right? And I'm assuming from, again, what I read, my own research is A year back, you said that you are not in Haryana. Are you in Haryana now?
We've just got the registration done. We'll start like ramping up from July onwards.
Education, when you look at education, deeply regulated sector in India,
Okay.
right? Probably one of the reasons that 1 million Indian kids are going outside the country as well this year. And this number towards outbound education is at a CAGR of 16-17%.
Wow.
Year on year, right? Yours is also very regulated. Ease of business, state to state, of course, depends. Do you believe that it's easier to enter this market now?
It's not just entering. So entering might be fine. You can.
But then
enter.
there's distribution, then there is the full ladder.
So it's a part and parcel of your life that you have to manage. So I can enter 15 states in a matter of a quarter, but entering does not mean anything.
The business, correct me if I'm wrong, there is a level of further difficulty in your business is, of course, you've created a great brand.
Right.
But then there are those mafia distributors, right? How do you crack that code?
So I'll give you an example. So for Haryana, right, we are doing well in Delhi, right? So now people maybe work here and maybe go back home to Delhi.
True.
So if they've had the whiskey there, they might ask it in Gurgaon.
Correct.
Right? And when they'll ask it at retail, as much as a retailer will say something else to you when you go meet him, if your consumer has come in and has walked back, that's revenue lost.
True.
So he will convey it to his boss, and his boss will convey it to the distributor, ki, do you have this brand available or not? So when that happens a couple of times, right, that creates, organic demand. So when that distributor reaches out to you, tables are slightly turned, right? So sometimes we wait for the tables to turn. That you do so well in a particular place that the word starts traveling before you have gone.
Got it.
Right, and only in that scenario will be there'll be a fair deal. Otherwise, the deal will be most likely tilted in the distributor's favor, at least in the first year. In the first year, but if you want a fairer deal, you have to be special.
But that would be the same thing for FMCGs, that same thing for anything, or consumer electronics and everything, right?
Yeah. But you can't work with all distributors. So Diageo will block out a particular distributor, Pernod will block out a particular distributor. You can't work with them, and they're most likely the best distributors. So you have to make do with number 3, number 4, number 5.
So tell me something. See, I came from the aviation industry, right? Shivam, long time back, we created a new paradigm of distributors. That means industry came,
right,
and then the distributors and allied industries were spawned from this. Is that something
so
that can happen with your industry as well, or your product?
So it's possible in certain states. So for example, someone is inviting us in Telangana right now. That person is not from the distribution, but has solid connects in the distribution.
Got it.
Right. So the next generation is wanting to enter the space, has the capital to sort of slightly finance, a brand to a certain degree, and is young right now. So they will put in the legwork. Those people who have good exposure, good connects in the space, they can open up new distribution, and then you can take a bet if you want to play with them.
I'm just going to switch this conversation. When you look at the overarching market in India, just give a sense to them and to the audiences. What percentage is spirits? Let's say what percentage is wine and what percentage is beer?
You guys gonna take a guess?
And by spirits, we mean all kind of spirits, right?
So that's whiskey, vodka, rum, gin, brandy is spirits, and then wine is wine and beer is beer.
The least would be wine.
Okay. How much would wine be?
20%.
Wine?
Yeah. I think less than maybe
Less than 15.
about 60% is your
Spirits?
main spirits.
Okay.
That's correct.
Okay.
And the remaining you mean to say would be beer and
20, yeah.
I think 80 to 90% is spirits.
80 to 90% would be spirits.
Any other guess? So let's go with wine first. So wine would not even be 0.5%.
Oh dear. Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you why. So how do you consume wine? Like in a stem glass, right? In a stem glass, right? And then you'll swirl it, right? And before you'll smell it, and then you'll sip it, and then again probably you'll swirl it in your mouth, right? So you've complicated the goddamn thing, right?
A lot of etiquette involved.
Yeah. So if I were a winemaker, I would make fun of this. If I want to go to people, right? Because now someone wants to pick up a wine, you have made it so difficult for him to pick up a wine.
Actually,
Protocol to drinking wine.
There should be no protocol.
there should be no protocol.
There is, right?
There is. So what I'm trying to say is, I'm not that personality, right? Hence, I can make, because they have this protocol around their drinking style, it reduces the number of people that will pick it up. Look at whiskey. Whatever glass, tall glass, highball glass, lowball glass, with water, with soda, with cola, whatever plastic glass.
It's very simplified.
You throw the Coke out and put the whiskey in that Coke bottle. Do whatever you want, right? No, the whiskey makers are smarter. They don't tell the consumer what to do. They help recommended style if you want, but you're free to do whatever you want to do. So you don't 15%, 0.5% for wine and more crore and say gin is not even 200 crores. So, but if you'll have this conversation in the south, no, we have like a 2-hour session.
But why drink whiskey? As I say, there are certain states which are drinking brandy.
No, those are only 2 states.
Yeah, but they're still drinking. Why are they drinking brandy and let's say one state is drinking whiskey?
Maybe that's a Portuguese colonial hangover.
Got it. So
Even
it's
till
just
now.
part of their...
That's it. That's only Tamil Nadu and like parts of Kerala. That's it. No other eastern parts drinks rum because of they have lesser purchasing power, so they're drinking rum, right? Only Tamil Nadu and Kerala are drinking brandy. The rest of the entire country is drinking whiskey, majorly, of course.
So the entire country largely. And is there any similarity? Let's say when you look at mature markets, or firstly, when you look at India, India A would be, let's say, the US, right? But India B, C, D could be Sub-Saharan Africa to, let's say, Mexico to Brazil.
So I think we should look at each state individually and not compare it to
anybody.
No.
Okay.
Because I think HUL has set a good precedence. India has many Indias.
So
it's
right.
not US. It's not.
A Jharkhand behaves completely different to an Uttarakhand, behaves completely to an Uttar Pradesh, behaves completely different. That's what you're saying.
So Haryana people will behave differently.
Got it.
UP people will behave differently.
Got it.
UP is a much maturer market. Haryana is a notorious market. Delhi is a stable market. Right? So you have to, say you go to the beach, you'll wear shorts. You go to the mountain, you wear a sweater. Right? So the weather tells you what to wear.
Correct.
Right? Similarly, when you go to a state, it's better to learn about them first. Learn their language, learn their people, understand, go around, walk around, not sit in this fancy or glass building, right? Go to the ground. If you don't, like burn your leather, it's very difficult to actually understand what people are.
Let's talk about Woodsmen, right? Mountain whiskey. I'm purely from a brand perspective, I'm deducing a couple of things the minute you're talking Woodsmen, mountain and whiskey, right?
Yes.
Whiskey means a certain grain.
Yes.
Am I right?
So it's a blended whiskey.
It's a blend,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Mountain, I'm just assuming, I have no idea. Your factory must be closer to some place.
Himalayas, Solan.
And because of the water.
Water. Yes.
Am I right?
Yes.
That's the main constituent ingredient, you may want to call it.
In your whiskey.
In your whiskey, am I right?
Almost 60% is water.
And most of the whiskies which are made in India is made in Himachal, or?
No.
Okay, no. It's not.
It's north of India. The hub is Deravasi.
Okay.
This is a small town before Chandigarh.
Got it.
So that's the hub for.
But is the water source from somewhere else there in Deravasi?
It's
The groundwater.
Yeah, groundwater.
Got it. Okay, and you want it to be in Himachal because of a certain quality of water?
Absolutely. So look at Tata's Himalayan sells at a 3x premium.
True.
Right.
It's because again Himalayan. Correct.
Catch in Kullu sells at a premium. Right. Vedika's Bisleris Vedika sells at a premium.
So your cost of logistics and those things would much more
goes up.
Because of the fact that you're going directly to the source.
Again, not a wise decision.
Oh, you won't do it?
No, I've done it and I will stick to it to the end of my
Okay.
life. Great decision.
Okay.
But if it's a mathematical mind sitting next to me,
Got it.
they'll call me stupid.
Got it.
Because you're increasing your logistics also, but they're not getting the bigger
overall kind of a
Yeah.
thing of quality that you want to kind of bring with this,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And Woodsmen, again, because it's whiskey, has to do something with your oak barrels.
picture. Correct.
Am I right?
Correct. Correct.
Talk about it.
So it absorbs the entire character from the wood, right? And the quality of that and how you take care of it. There'll be leakages, right? So how do you take care of, a growing child? I'm just comparing. Right? So you will nurture it, right? Similarly, you have to take care of the barrel. And if it's resting and having, say, you're breathing air here, and say Arun will tell you if you're breathing air in the Himalayas, you wake up fresher, right? You're just energetic, and naturally your body is happy. Similarly, when your wood is contracting and expanding during winter and summer, so the whiskey is going inside the crack, coming out, going inside the crack, coming out. So it's absorbing the character from the wood.
And for Woodsmen, how long is it in this barrel?
So to give you, a sense first, I want to ask a question. So a typical, Indian single malt or a single malt in India, what aging would it have?
2 years.
2 years.
In India?
In India, single malt
Why would you say 5 to 7 years?
that's the least age it should require to make.
Why do you say that? As in, is it preconditioned in your mind? You're reading some other label?
No, but you would have said 12 years if that's the case, because 12 years has been sold to you and 15 years has been
Correct.
sold to you.
So right. The
How did you
Livets
come to
and
5 years?
the black.
18, of course.
Huh?
18. was a
18,
premium.
12, 15, 18, 21, whatever, 25, right? So how did 5 come to your mind?
It's very less in India because it's a very hotter climate and a very humid climate, so the wood reacts differently as compared to Scotland.
So humidity is in fact lower than Scotland.
No, but
Temperature is higher.
Temperature is high, that's why the evaporation and everything, the English has been changing.
So if you look,
My guess would be 3 years.
3 years.
Google किया है.
What is it?
It's 4 years roughly.
In India?
In India.
Okay.
In India, and it's equivalent to a 12 year.
Because of, again, the temperature and
Yes,
everything.
yes. So Indians are leading CEOs all across. The reason we don't crack under pressure. Similarly, the whiskey is also under pressure because the climate is 0 degrees to 40 degrees.
So when you see a case today, it was brewed 4 years ago. Is that what?
So the malt was from 4 years ago.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it.
Blending happened.
Blending happened at a fairly later stage, and
Yeah.
that's immediacy is there in that.
Yeah.
Got it.
But the malt has been resting for you for a long time.
To your point, because you're made for India, for the world also,
Yeah.
right? Grain is a very large component, water is a very large component, right?
Yes.
Is there a fair play for an Indian? Because Indian grains are different. You are still relying on a farmer, a particular quality,
Yeah.
and you're relying on, let's say, water. For whatever reason, instead of Solan, you go to Porbandar. Your whiskey would taste completely different.
It will taste different.
Right?
Yes.
So how does an India produce quality for the world?
So when you look at, say, the grain distillery, right? Now these are probably, and I'm not lying here, these are probably better plants than grain distillery plants in Scotland.
Got it.
Because we count in pesas, right? We are extremely critical on our process. So the distillery levels that exist for a grain distillery now in India is at par at global standards.
Got it.
So what is coming in is, say, rice and wheat as grains, particularly because that's what grows on our land.
Correct.
Do you know what a bourbon is made of? Primarily?
Corn.
Corn. Because corn is what grows on American land, right? So your policy maker will say use corn. He needs to get the votes from the farmer and he needs to keep the farmer happy. So they use corn. It's in Coke, it's in Doritos, it's in whiskey,
True,
it's in
true.
everywhere. So over here we use rice and wheat is also used in Scotland for
it.
Scotch. And so that might not be perfect consistency, but because it's distilled 4 times,
Got it.
know
What do you mean by that? Distilled 4 times?
So basically, there is starch content in a grain. You take the help of a yeast to convert that
Got
starch
it.
into sugar.
So distilled 4 times. Got it. That process of.
Yeah. So you heat it, condense it,
Got it,
heat it,
got
condense
it,
it,
got it.
and then so there's a head of the run, a heart of the run, and a tail of the run. So ideally, a good quality. So India, everything sells, right? So they'll sell. Tail is the worst, right? So they'll sell the tail to a country liquor guy.
Got it.
Right? Head is more volatile.
The same thing is with the grain also. You got basmati, which can be X, and a rice could be staple rice, which could be.
So you have to choose the heart of the run.
Got it.
For a premium whiskey, and then that goes in a barrel.
Got it.
Right. So that actually provides the base. So when you're picking a grain, whiskey of grain spirit, it has to be silent. It's the malt that has to provide the flavor. Right. Now what flavor? Up to you. Fruity, peaty, woody, smoky. That is completely your
and
call.
that totally depends on how you want it to blend Woodsmen, right?
Yes.
Because your tag is smooth.
Yes,
So,
correct.
and you
correct.
wanted that smoothness to kind of come out of it,
Correct,
right?
because say you don't drink. So who drinks whiskey here? Okay, so say you. What's your favorite whiskey?
Dalmor.
Okay. Do you drink that every day?
No, absolutely.
What do you drink
No,
every day?
he's talking about everyday drink.
Every day means
If you're drinking 2 or 3 times a week, what are you drinking?
I'll not get impressed if you say Dalmor. So let's. What do you drink with your friends?
Prefer Jameson.
Jameson, right? So can you recommend Jameson to me?
No.
No, recommend it to me.
What's the flavor like?
So I'm not a Jameson drinker. I'm your friend. So can you recommend Jameson to me?
Yes, it's quite smooth, and the flavor is also fine.
Okay, what do you like?
I don't go with a brand, I just need a fun.
Okay, doesn't matter.
This is an honest answer.
but when you still kind of go for that fun, is there something which you kind of pick up which you like?
Most of it I drink Jameson. But it's
Jameson.
not any specific.
Is it because it's cheaper in Haryana? Is that the reason? Or
No.
The Jameson is
No,
Jameson?
but why do you like Jameson?
Nothing like I just.
Okay, anybody else who knows why they drink that particular brand?
So I'll just tell a scenario. So I like Highland Cream, Teacher's Highland Cream. So
Teacher's Highland Cream.
Teacher's
Okay.
Highland Cream.
Okay.
So even like my dad likes a DSP Black, a local.
No. Why do you like say Teacher's Highland Cream?
I like Teacher's. It's very smooth and the flavor is good and on the rocks it's better.
So look at 3
Yeah,
people
yeah.
not able to actually
Describe why.
It's because very difficult. It's not their fault.
Yeah. It's subjective.
You can ask about say explain Dalmor to me now. You paid say 5x price. Why do you like Dalmor?
Again, that
He'll again say smooth.
no, that smokiness is there again, and again that history towards is there. The branding also is there.
No, you're paying because the price is signaling to you it's premium and you want to showcase to your friend and your company that you're making it in life. That's why you drink that, right? Because you will get smoky profile whiskeys in a lot cheaper price as well.
Absolutely.
Right?
So right.
So it's very, very difficult to describe taste to begin with, right? They should have said Irish, right? That's an origin, right? So it sets them slightly apart from something else. Smooth is a word you will find people who drinking $500 whiskeys to maybe 5 lakh rupee whiskeys. A Macallan sold at an auction. Everyone will say smooth because it's difficult to describe taste.
Correct.
And even if you say you and me like sweet, you might like dark chocolate and I might like milk chocolate.
True.
Both are sweet.
True.
So the commonality is smooth. And to give you an anecdote, say Royal Stag says make it large. Right? Now why do they say make it large? Is because when you go to a bar, you tell the bartender, last drink banao. So a smart brand manager caught this and said, यार इंडिया में जब भी कोई कहीं पी रहा होता है बोलता है large बनाओ, पटियाला बनाओ and like make it a large drink. So they turned it into
To the large persona as well.
after that. So first is a product promise.
Got it.
So they stuck to make it large for some time.
Got it.
When that product promise was established, then you move to a lifestyle positioning. So it's your life, make it large. So that's success.
Got it.
Right? But now India is different. So 90s India was Dil Mange More, Pepsi, right? And make it large. Now India is asking qualitative questions. So when you go to a whiskey counter or a retail shop and something new is being recommended to the guy, you're like, smooth enough is the question. So the question is now qualitative. And the one common word across whiskey is smooth. And luckily for me, no one latched onto it. Look at so Blender's Pride is fashion, Signature is confused, Antiquity is antique, right? Royal Challenge Singh bold. Now again, that isn't a product promise.
Is there an India persona ever built? I think we are confused here in India with our, not your brand per se. Irish whiskey, Irish.
Correct. Correct.
Tequila, Mexico.
Right.
Is there something?
So that's what. So when I say Himalayan,
Is that?
it's
aspect?
that. Right. So that's the overall arching positioning. Now
And direct relation to India.
direct relation to India and globally understood.
So right.
And in the positive light.
So right.
Right. Great
Majestic.
water. Majestic. Great water.
Correct.
So great
Rooftop of the world.
rooftop of the world, and it's a great place to start your story. Because maybe you can make a good whiskey, and maybe all of them can make a good whiskey if they go at it long enough, but do they have a good story? Right? And when now he has to recommend me to his friend, it's Himalayan. Half the job is done.
Tell me something, just for the little nuanced people, is there a protocol to drinking whiskey, or whiskey just... Is there a protocol?
So I would say the maker has worked really hard to get that taste to you. So a big block of ice and like just a splash of water to release the flavor and have it in half an hour's time.
Got it.
Right? Because just sip slowly, take the taste.
I don't think so. He's doing that for sure. Why do you drink? For the kick?
Yeah. Of course.
To numb basically. Ye weekend aa gaya, let me numb myself.
No. He wants to let loose.
Let loose.
Because he's been like he's feeling. So the feeling is escape.
Yeah.
It's not numb.
I got it.
It's escaping.
Okay, I'll change that thing. It's escape. That's the right thing.
Yeah. People want to. They feel that they have been caged, and for I think our generation, freedom is more important. Right. So you will find like some outward going lines in my brand signaling free space, like Himalayas is free, right? So we've used like certain symbolic things to, it's not, it's just there so that it gives you that feeling.
For you, your organic growth, right, would be, I'm assuming, state by state and ensuring that Woodsmen is available everywhere, right? Which also lends to the factory, the output, capital cycle for it. Give a sense in your mind, how will Woodsmen look like in the next 5 years?
Next 5 years?
Yeah.
We should have a copper pot distillery and a visitor center.
That copper pot, I'm assuming, is very expensive.
Very expensive.
Yes. Yeah.
So that's a give or take at least a 200 crore rupee project.
Got it.
Starting.
But Diageo's in Pernod Ricard won't be using that because that's more industrial, or they use copper?
No, they do. So you can only produce malt in a copper
pot.
Yeah, so you have to have it.
And that's very...
No, so maybe the machinery is one part of it. It's the barrels and the liquid that goes inside it, and you have to age it for like 5 years, right? So there's a lot of inventory cost.
So for you see raising money for the next 4 to 5 years, whether it's C, D, E, F,
Because ultimately you have to start whiskey tourism in India, right? So there are at least 1 million people going to the Himalayas just in these 2 months. Now imagine 1 million people are walking towards me naturally. I am not doing any money spending. They are automatically coming. I can just be one more place that they can visit.
And the government is okay to this? Because again, on one side is revenue and on the other side is hypocrisy. Right? How does one balance that?
So you have to first tell them how are you helping them, right?
If you're making money for the state, which is helping blah,
then I will say I'm putting in this much amount of money in this place which means I'm tied to you now.
So right. And
then
local employment
will come in. So you have to present. You can't just think of your benefit. You have to again think of how are you helping them first. If you are clear with that, and you then they will understand. Maybe not immediately, but over time they will understand that this company means well for our state.
And every time, let's say you go to a new state, assuming 3 years from now you're in Orissa,
right?
It's literally you're starting afresh. The brand would have been heard there. Those people would have come here, drank that. But setting up the same distribution, going to the same distributors, 1 year is, I would say, incubation period. It's like, that playbook repeats itself, right?
Yes. But you get better with the playbook. You exactly know how many people, how much money, how many retail outlets, the time frame, what are the first 4-5 steps that need to be done. So that playbook will be modified for that state, but you get the drift now. Okay, this is what will happen in this year now.
Do you think Shivam would be bigger brand name than Woodsmen?
Time would tell.
What do you think?
So I think we are moving to a time frame.
For only reason, so sorry, I say that is because you cannot directly advertise.
Yeah, so like I have a friend, his name is Shiv, he's from NID. He says, you're only in 4 states, right? But Shivam can travel across the country and give a flavor of Woodsman to people even before Woodsman has gone.
True.
So I'm actually I'll have to do a service to my brand.
Correct.
Right? Take that flavor and that energy and that story and tell it to everyone in every state of the country before the brand comes, so that the capital is efficient when it's deployed.
So right. And also to the point of, even for a personal brand, Shivam, what I have seen of you and what my conversation with you is, if your brand is smooth, you're also a very smooth talker.
Okay.
Right? You're not a brash, abrasive, brazen, right?
Right.
You're carrying that brand of Woodsman in spirit as well.
Right.
So, congratulations on that.
Thank you.
I'm going to pause here because there are so many more questions which are going to come from them, and let's just open it up and then. Yes.
So distilling whiskey, does it mean fermenting the grain 5 times?
Not fermenting the grain, distilling it. So like, what does distilling mean?
Proper process, what is that?
Proper process. So say if you have to make malt, right? It will be made from barley, right? So you will have to germinate the barley and then stop the germination, say in 2.5 days time, right? So you soak it in. For that to happen, you soak it in water and then.
एक input है, एक process है, और एक फिर output है, right? वो एक process होता है. Like literally, for you to make a shirt, cotton, processing, weaving, output. It's something like that. So his whiskey would follow a particular process. Hence that smoothness. Hence a particular oak barrel. And this wood is from India.
No, so India, the rules are very, very strict that you can't
cut the trees.
Cut the trees, and then you don't have an industry that
is actually even making this.
Is doing that. But there is one person now in Bareilly who's refurbishing them. It's like a cooperage.
Got it.
So you buy from.
Got it. And also
US
refurbish
and
it.
refurbish it here.
From
So that's happening, but. The cutting the trees is like another
unfortunately,
battle.
आज तक कभी इंडिया के बारे में ये समझ में नहीं आया. We want to become $10 trillion, right? And then there are so many barriers.
Yeah.
Right to this. The fact to your point, what you just said, I was just thinking about it. There is this natural tourism going to Himalayas.
Yeah.
You might as well kind of showcase everything.
Yeah.
If you go down to Austria, I'll give you an example of in Austria. Every church is a winery.
Right.
They break bread. Right, and they distill their own wines there, and everyone goes there. And pretty much, if you see the tourists will go from one church to the other because they want to. It's not because of God, it's because of breaking bread. You see, and different flavors, and और ये हम नहीं करते.
Because like you're saying, if the government starts accepting it openly, people will say it's very easy to throw acquisitions.
Correct.
Right? So people will say, why is this minister doing this? Why are they promoting this?
So right.
So they can't have that stance.
Yeah.
The best they can do is not stop you.
Yeah.
That's the best you can expect from them. You can't expect them to promote. So even when I'm working in the tourism space, it'll be with maybe I'll have some cottages next to my distillery that I will say I'm promoting.
So right.
Not the alcohol.
Yeah. So right. So and it's the experience basically.
It's the
right?
experience.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And to answer your question, it's basically malting is happening. Right. So a part of that is fermentation. Now fermentation is done by a yeast. So it's converting sugar to alcohol. So barley has sugar content. That sugar content is converted into alcohol with the help of yeast. Right, that takes roughly anywhere between 80 to 140 hours. Right. So
High temperatures? At high temperatures?
releasing heat,
Got it.
carbon dioxide itself.
Got it.
Right. So that happens, and then you allow it to rest a bit. So that's basically beer, like dirty beer.
Got it.
Right. So then that dirty beer is moved towards the first
Got
still.
it. Still.
Right. So that becomes then say from a 6% to say a 12%. Right. So you've heated it up. Fired it up and it's gone up.
I got it.
So there are plates in between, and then it'll come out of the wash still. So it's called a wash because it's dirty. But it's a wash still. And
So
then
what
it's
we can do is when we do the walk the talk with you,
Yeah.
maybe some of these guys can come and they can see that kind of process as well.
I'll ask questions then.
Yeah,
You'll have
absolutely.
to learn and come.
Yeah. 100%. Free में कुछ नहीं मिलेगा.
I have a question.
Yes, please.
You spoke about the taste when a consumer or customer goes to a store
Yeah.
and asks, is it smooth?
Yeah.
So what taste are they trying to stay away from? Why do we ask, is it smooth? But what else can it be?
So the retailer is a very, very smart person. He's smarter than me, right? Because he meets a lot of people coming into his store, right? So they read people, right? कि कितने पैसे खर्चेगा. So it's an industry where so when you buy a t-shirt, you first try so many things and then pay.
Yeah,
Over
this-
here, the money is out of the pocket.
Yeah.
He's already giving you the money, right?
And asking sometimes for a recommendation.
Sometimes for a recommendation. So not always. So they know that this is the price point this guy is playing at. Is it a usual guy? He'll take his repeat, right? And on the weekend, if say maybe someone is coming over, right, and they want something better to host their friends or take to a, someone is coming over or they are going somewhere, so they'll ask for a recommendation, which they are not used to buying. There, the retailer plays a role in convincing someone, maybe try
Like
this.
the chemist.
Not.
ये दवाई की will be कौन सी चाहिए?
हाँ, but ये थोड़ी सी different दवा है.
So he will say ज़्यादा kick वाला चाहिए.
But my question again
Yeah.
is that, does the taste get better for whiskey? The more you pay and the smoother does it get smoother? The more expensive it is?
So no. So so there are certain heavy-bodied, full-bodied malts or whiskies, and there will be certain light-bodied whiskies. So the reason why they like Jameson is because it's light-bodied. So younger palate will be lighter and sweeter. As you age in life,
Will be a little bitter and
yes.
Yeah.
So you would prefer a more full-bodied whiskey with age. So like a 50-year-old guy would not like Jameson. Like ये बहुत मीठा है, बहुत sweet है. So when you talk to a younger person, the language changes, and you talk to a more aged
Evolved person, yeah.
evolved person, they will prefer a more full-bodied, slightly heavier, because their palate can take it.
Right. Do you consume whiskey?
I do.
Do you drink your own brand?
Yes. I have to learn constantly, right? So
and he has to also try other brands, right? To
Yes.
ensure that
Yes.
what
By
are
the way,
they kind of
Jameson is
doing?
a very good brand. Yeah. So when we're going on tasting sessions every week. So we go to say like a co-working space. We go to startups with 200 people. We go to Piano Man, and when there's an artist playing, we go to bigger gigs, the GLN Stadium, right? So what are we actually trying to do is making sure that the first time experience of the consumer is great, right? That when he's having it for the first time, there's a smiling face giving it to him, firstly to begin with, right? And then when you're smiling and giving, there's an emotion is traveling to the person, and if a person answers that, do tell us how it is. So you're not being cocky and saying it's the best. You're not. You will constantly improve because you get better every time. And if you're talking properly to people, they will be comfortable speaking back to you, right? So there you learn. Okay, if they what did they like, why did they like? So a few people, not everyone. You can't disturb everyone. Only a few people that are open to talking to you, sort of slightly dig deeper there. And this is the learning that I've just told you, that younger people will like more light-bodied, right? And a person who's maybe 35, 40, he'll slightly, be more, comfortable with this. So now that is how this is marketing to the right person. So you have to understand, okay, if this guy is willing to pay or not, right? for and how much price. So this is what TG is. When a deck asks what is your TG, right? तो पूरा TG नहीं हो सकता आपका, right? It's not possible. You'll have to have different. That's why we'll have different styles of whiskies. So within the Woodsmen brand, we will have like a full-bodied, a light-bodied, and maybe say to attract even younger people, right? Maybe I'll do like say like a coffee-flavored whiskey which has not been done, right? So now what I'm trying to do, my core brand remains this. My bread and butter is this, but I have to attract him also. I have to attract her also, attract him also. How do I do that? So I'll get limited editions in place, run it for a limited time like a sneaker drop, right? And attract these younger people to me. When they try it out, they at least know my brand now. And if it's a good liquid, they most likely might stick. But you can't expect everyone to stick.
Sorry, one more question I have then. I don't know what is the price point of your.
Right. So we are
Starts and ends at what?
So we are at 990, just shy of $1,000.
Okay, and?
Depends on the state, right?
But to give you North India, it'll be like 560 to 990, right? So the lowest is 560 and there's one 990, and this will become 1800. 990 will become 1800 in Bombay, will become 2400 in Bangalore. So imagine. So it makes my life harder.
Yeah.
I'm talking to different individual in Bangalore. So my marketing cannot be the same marketing that I do in Delhi. We can't go to the same places to market it. So all of it will change.
I just wanted to ask, it's a very simple question. When you were starting with Woodsmen, which type of Indian did you have in mind when you set the price point of it, when you set the price point of just, on the 990, how's it going to be? Did you want it to be, every blue-collar Indian that comes back and is like, I want to numb my feelings or I need to escape, and I want a Woodsman? Or was there somebody else that you had in mind when you started the project? Which type of Indian was there in your mind when you started Woodsmen?
So firstly, I think we should not call someone a blue collar, right? Because you are trying to typecast people, right? First, let's this is to be honest, a person paying 560 to you 3 times a week is more valuable than a person buying single malt, because that person will act up, tell you what he wants.
How to distill your single malt.
Yeah, he will tell the retailer, right, he knows more, so he is not that valuable, to be honest, right? So understanding ki India right now is in the 500 to 1000 rupee at the max market, right? We are at
and the frequency over here is more important, right?
Frequency is more important. So it's a 28, 30-year-old guy, 32-year-old guy. So I'm not talking to people in college, because they will experiment right now, and that's normal. He will drink beer sometimes, tequila sometimes, vodka sometimes. हाँ, अभी कोई preference ही नहीं है, right? अभी तो जो मिल रहा है, they'll enjoy. Maybe he will get something. हाँ, ये पी लेते हैं आज, right? Because he wants the kick. He wants to just have fun.
Correct.
Right? So he's not.
But the age is also like that, right?
Absolutely.
Everyone goes through it.
Absolutely. So I don't want to spend my money in convincing them right now.
Correct.
But yes, some exposure, yes. So I'm talking to a guy who started working now.
So 25 onwards.
25 onwards, he started working, and now he has a certain rhythm to his life.
Correct. So if he's earning annual 5 lakhs, then 8 lakhs and 9 lakhs.
Yes.
And at that level, if he's getting, I would say, a world-class whiskey,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
To his satisfaction, which can compete with, let's say, comparables anywhere in the world.
Yeah, so if you'll put my bottle on a table, and I'm not trying to boast or anything, we have seen people compare it to 2x, 3x
I won't be surprised,
without saying us anything. Now the reason for that is we've put in that effort. So our bottle is patented. It's got a mountain at the base of the bottle, right? So not easy. That looked like more than a year to do. Convince Piramal, who doesn't care about a startup, right?
Correct.
He is Mr. Piramal is at a top line of 4,000 crores. Selling to the world, right? So how do you convince that guy to, because no one else has a technology to do that in India, right? So that happened. So you care firstly for a great product, right? And then give it at a great price in India, because India is a paisa vasool country, according to whatever my learnings are. So if you give it at a great price, look at what say Ambanis do, right? Jio mein they're giving it a flavor to everyone, so वो try कर लो आप. Now you're hooked on. Now do you even check your bill?
So to the point, can I
please,
say
please.
something? Economics wise, when he said wine market is 0.2, 0.3, it's very simple. There are only out of abadi of 140 crores, which I think is incorrect. 20-30 crore और डाल दो, right? 160 crores का जो आबादी है. How many people are filing income tax returns? 2.2 crores. Filing return. That doesn't mean they're making money. Just filing a return. That's it.
Yeah.
Right? So, a certain segment will appreciate that. So, पहली बात तो 2 crores out of 150, 160 crores. In that 2 crores, he could be earning only 4 or 5 lakhs in filing return. Right? So, and when you go to anybody who's earning beyond 30 lakhs, that is only 0.5 million.
Not more than that.
Not more than that. So, it's a very small market. Now, to the point, 25, 30-year-old, if and correct me if I'm wrong, it's like you going to the market for your staples, and your liquor is also part of your staple. So, what is the sweet spot to I would say reward myself, and B, appreciate it, and yet my credit card is not overcharged, because I'm only earning that much. But this is the real India as well.
And
the aspiration.
This
is my understanding correct?
Absolutely. So this is classic consumer behavior. When I am asking him in front of other people,
He'll say dal.
He'll say dal more. He might have had it once in his life.
Or maybe having that bottle, maybe
Papa ki hogi.
Celebration ke liye.
Right? Papa ki hogi, right? But he's trying to tell me he drinks a dal more. He doesn't earn money right now. He doesn't deserve to drink a dal more, according to me. He should first earn some money, and then from that money pay a rent. And if he's not paying a rent, he's living at his home, he should pay that money to his mother, right?
Correct.
Then take care of all his expenses himself and contribute to all the utilities that he's eating and drinking and whatever he's doing in the house. And then that money is saved, then he will never buy a dal more. Because a guy earning, even 10 lakh rupees should not buy a dal more. You have to be in the money to
I have
to
one
drink.
last question for you, right?
Yeah. Sorry, I'm being a little harsh.
No, but they love these hard talks. Shivam, tell me something. You are at a stage where you are raising money.
Yeah.
That itself is a. I've gone through the same thing.
Okay.
Right.
Okay,
It's
okay.
literally.
It's fun.
You are shaming yourself in front of everyone all the time, right? And B, you're growing the market as well.
Yeah.
And then you're growing cities as well.
Yes.
Am I right? Three things are happening simultaneously for you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And fourth is a heavy regulated environment, so you're ensuring that the ecosystem.
Yeah.
How do you keep yourself sane?
I play badminton in the morning at 6. So
Discipline?
I wake up
So is
early.
that discipline?
Yeah, I wake up 5:15, 5:30, and that 1 hour I'm sweating it out. Whether it's running
And gives you
playing.
it gives you perspective?
no phone.
But
no
it gives you
nothing.
that perspective.
Yeah,
right?
this silence in the head, no? So if you start early, you can talk to yourself, right? So I think that is a must. And if you don't do that, then you're catching up.
So right.
You're just catching up to the day, and then there are, if I
You're just reacting to
there
situations.
will be so many things to do.
True.
Right, and then just reacting.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you can construct your day.
True.
Shivam,
Yes.
I have a very transactional question.
Transactional.
Yes. Suppose 2 years later, Divit has grown within the system in Woodsmen, has
Yeah.
become the COO. Now you require a chief of staff for your office.
Right.
Tell me about the profile.
Tell me your profile. So I'm
What do you
not.
look at?
I've. So I've not thought of a chief of staff. I can't afford one right now. But we do have a founder's office thing, so that a young talent who is sharp. He's one of them, and there's one more person right now. Want to accelerate their journey.
Okay.
Right? Now they are, say you're teaching them here, you're charging them a fee, right? But they will eventually have to learn a lot in the real world, right?
So very curious mindset.
So I feel what good that you are doing is starting to expose them to this world, right? And this also they're getting because of you. They have not earned it, right? I've come because you've called me, right? So now they've gotten getting exposure to a lot of good industry people, now they need to pick it up. They need to get in touch with someone they feel that they want to eventually go in that industry, right? So maybe trying to be in touch with them, and I think that's the best route if a person wants to learn.
Sure.
And I think in the beginning part of your life, one should prioritize learning over earning, not going after.
Because scope is bigger than your earn potential.
Yeah. So and I think fortunately India's a lot of young kids are very, very smart and they have that mindset, right? So I was having a conversation with him and he could have put it in a better way, of course, but he's like, you took say 6 years or whatever years to get where you are. I need to do it faster. So I said, absolutely. But for that, you have to also be that person. I can help, but I cannot become you. And I cannot, it's completely dependent on you.
Yeah, and also just one more thing. You're already seeing a playbook for you to get that confidence, right? Let's say you create your own playbook, right? And create a new category for yourself, right? You have no idea because every day you wake up, it's uncertainty. And you're bringing sense in that uncertainty every day. Right? So your mental resilience, hence I asked you that question, and for him it is badminton or something. That mental resilience is far more important because every day 5 people are telling you, ye nahi hoga.
No, he is well aware now.
It's 5 people are telling you. Firstly, if you are raising money, 5 people are saying, kya baat kar rahe ho? Yeah, are you going to go with Pernod Ricard? Are you going to go with Diageo? Are you going to with, I am. Because they're passe. Right? There is that aspiring Indian today which is reimagining everything. That generational shift is happening, right? And nobody knows what they want. They only know one thing, कि वो नहीं करना है. You got it? कुछ और करना है, वो नहीं करना है. So what I like, there is no way my daughter will like, even if it is the best. क्योंकि I like, right? So,
but I feel younger people are way smarter than us.
Of course.
And I genuinely,
yeah.
It's just that how does patience come in the frame is the missing piece.
But honestly, I say it's evolution, right? 60-wala generation will say 70s were smarter. 70-wala say 80s smarter. It's like that generation.
No, I'm saying they're smarter.
They are smarter. So the 2010 will be smarter than 2020-wala generation will be smarter, and that's good thing happening, right? And build up and. Sorry.
Discussion on sales as a career, which is a non-negotiable. I mean, that was.
But if you ask me, Arun, if you don't know how to sell, right, you cannot do anything in life.
Exactly, that's what we were discussing. Shivam, your take on that.
So, say, imagine I don't have a bottle here, right, and I'm telling you about this is selling, right, in a subconscious setting. So you have to sell a dream, right? Someone is buying your shares. It does. किसी ने कोई शेयर तो अब वो फिजिकल तो जान ही रहा है किसी के पास, राइट? सो इट्स इन अ डीमैट अकाउंट, राइट? एंड यू सेइंग योर वैल्यू इज दिस. सो इट्स लाइक सेलिंग समथिंग इन थिन एयर, राइट? एंड देन यू हैव टू अल्टीमेटली गिव दैट वैल्यू, right? So you're always selling a dream of the future.
You're so right. A CEO, if you ever want to become anything, selling, you need to master that. Simple.
So your body language will say a lot, right? Like say how you are sitting, and say you are sitting with folded hands and you are sitting differently. Your body language will give it away how. Now he's sitting say slightly forward, right? No, that's not a rested pose, right? He's not. Then get out if you're not interested, right? So when you're actually talking to someone who you're pitching to, please don't lean back, right? You're not gone there to rest. So you please put on a smile. It won't hurt. So your energy will also help you, do that. So please sit up front. Be prepared. So before I started pitching to investors, I used to read up on their history. Do they like football? Do they like golf? Where have they studied? Who have they invested in?
You got some really good people on your cap table.
Thank you. Thank you.
Market people, people who appreciate, I would say, the beverage industry, worked long enough to even kind of, I would say, handhold you and give you the gyan in their own way, right?
Yeah. So like simple anecdotes help, but like for example, there's Mr. Atul Singh. He's chairman at Coca-Cola. Was Asia Pacific chairman. So now he'll call me on a Sunday 4 p.m. to his house. Now people might say कि Sunday ko should be an off day, but that person who is taken care of half the world or one of the biggest beverage companies is calling you and saying, come, you better go early.
मैं तो जाऊँगा, मेरे को बाय distribution कैसे करते बता दो यार.
Right. So he said one simple thing, right? शिवम ये फ्रिज तरह कोक का कैन लेकर आओ और क्या लिखा है इस पे? मैंने सर बड़ा था कोका कोला ही लिखा है, ज़्यादा कुछ तो नहीं लिखा है. एंड कैंपेन इज ठंडा मतलब कोका कोला. तो कह रहे कम बोलो क्योंकि बहुत चीज़ें चल रही हैं लोगों के दिमाग में. एक ही वर्ड बोलो. दैट्स इट. एक वर्ड
ठंडा कोक. व्हाट ही इज ट्राइंग टू से.
एंड बस एक वर्ड भी अगर स्टिक हो गया, you know, of your personality with the brand.
And that takes a long time.
That takes a long time. So you have to keep hammering.
Yeah, you have to keep hammering it.
Keep hammering that, but sometimes we want to say more.
Yeah.
So I can have 10 things about my brand that I know, but I'll just say in terms of product promise, it's smooth, origin is Himalayan.
Correct.
Mountain. Right? So
and
nothing else, and I think that is good enough.
So like Apple do, rich means Apple.
Rich means?
You have Apple phone.
Apple phone is thing different.
No, it's like
No, you're talking the characteristic of that. That means if you have money, you can buy an Apple. But what he's saying, the brand persona is about think different. Ecosystem, think different.
So brand persona has to be, say, what you want to be. The brand has to be that for you. It can't be at a consumer level. So if say I'm selling to a person buying $1,000 whiskey, brand has to be at 3,000 or 200. It should feel like
Correct.
a much more.
That's your aspiration, na?
That's why you look up to it. So sort of.
And I have a question. Like maybe after 2 to 3 years, your brand is booming all over India.
Thank you.
And it's not maybe you'll go home all over India.
For that, you need to drink more.
No, please.
Or else just switch from Highland Cream.
That's just wait.
So you like we have a peated profile whiskey. You like that because you like teachers.
Sure.
Yeah.
So that's what, as you said, like there is a price point of 550 to 990. What that first your whiskey and all.
Yeah.
So my question is like you are preparing your liquor in north.
Yes.
So if it comes to south as
Yes.
well, like will you transport or you
No, transport.
Why I ask because brand McDowell brand. They have in Hubli as well, and they have in Tamil Nadu as well.
They're in all states.
Everywhere, all states.
Yeah.
Then like the water changes.
Yes.
Like, even the taste, color,
It will change.
essence,
Everything
bottling.
Do you know the blend of McDowell's is different in different states?
Yeah, that's different. But even the other brands also, like Blenders Pride,
Yeah.
or
But sometimes it's purposely
To suit the palate of
that state.
Okay.
So not necessarily the brand wants to do it, but if the consumers are not taking to it, the brand will have to understand the local consumers and change their taste palette to them. But to answer your question, I will sell it from the Himalayas. I will send it from there.
Yeah, in case like mixing also as well, water or like not mixing with the whiskey. Like, for that whiskey essence, the spirit level will be like fluctuating, not equal. Like what is the government price? That will be very different. Why? Because I'm telling us, majorly I take McDowell thing. Like why? Because of my family used to work over there.
Right.
So that's why, like McDowell whiskey, the same bottle and the same bottle which we get in other states.
Right.
So the whiskey is completely different.
Right.
And again, the consuming level. Of
What's your question?
My question is like, taste is different, and whiskey quality is different.
Yeah, that's what he mentioned, right? At the end of the day, it's the water, right, and different, and to the consumer. So he gave the example of HUL as well. They change. Maybe the product doesn't change, but the way, the style. But sometimes they tweak it as well, right?
So brand ethos might not change.
Correct.
Brand ethos will remain the same. If you're asking me whether I will go to multiple states and bottle it, answer is no.
No.
My identity is
mountain.
is Himalayas.
It's pretty much like Scottish whiskey, right?
Right.
It's distilled there.
So if it goes to the US, price will go up.
Yeah.
Simple. I don't want to complicate my life any further. Just keep it simple.
And to make that machinery is big and like make your plant big and all you have.
But people value it more, no? Because it's like, for example, say like geotagging, right? So you have say Banarsi sari, right? You have say Nasik Valley wine, right? You have Lucknow ka chicken, like maybe the chicken curry, right? So you pay more for it, right? Because there is speciality over there.
It's the identity of the place.
So, again, if you say the Napa Valley wine,
Yes.
right, or a Chardonnay coming in from that,
France.
it's a sense to that. The soil, the climate, the grape variety, it's from there, and from there it's gonna get exported. So his USP is the water, mountain, the particular oak, right, and of course mindful of there is logistics, but I think because of the better highway infrastructure and now the railway infrastructure which is happening, it's easier to transport. Little expensive for sure, but easier to transport as well. But think about it this way: why aren't there 2 Harvards in the world? Also,
So
Right.
people will play slightly more because
Correct.
I'm sending it from
Correct.
the north. They'll play slightly more, but
quality cannot be scaled.
Yes.
मुझे लगता है अब ये जो आपने scale किया है वो quality नहीं है. What I'm trying to say is it needs to have a hub.
it needs to have a heart and center. to
Correct.
it.
That's what I'm trying to
Yeah.
say. You know, if you decentralize it, right, chances are the quality.
See, McDowell is selling at the lowest rung, right? So they can't make it in one.
वो kick के लिए.
It's not financially possible. I am at a 990 rupee price where it is possible. Now I can choose to make it at multiple places. I can choose to make it at one place, digest some of the cost, pass on some of the cost to the consumer. That's a call, and that I feel is
As of now, it's not because of capex cycle and all those things, na? Right? Is he here now? He's part of lunch.
Absolutely.
Oh, he is. Then have your questions around that.
yes, please.
Like you mentioned, you pass whiskey to the wood that wood for getting it flavor.
Yes.
So, do you use only one kind of wood, or are you trying to make more flavors?
The
like,
oak
a
barrel
sandalwood-
is.
Yeah, no, I understand him. I
like
understand him.
sandalwood wood, you passing through and making naming it sandalwood to whiskey.
Good idea. So there are different types of oak. There is mostly it's like American oak, right? So this is, if it's a new barrel, it's called a virgin white American oak barrel. If it's used one, it's called an ex-American oak barrel. Then there are barrels in France that have stored cognac in it. Some wines, so they are ex-cognac cask, ex-wine cask. If you're importing some barrels from, say,
The composition of the wood would be different.
No, because it has, say for example, if you import it from, say, Portugal or say Spain,
They have stored
port.
I got it.
So different types of
Got it.
spirits and liquids have been inside. So they'll impart a finishing touch, right, to your whiskey. But that happens at a more premium scale. It's slightly more difficult to do it at this price. But I'm trying to, do that. I'm trying to do that. Again, mathematically doesn't make much sense.
So yeah, but as a last thing, please drink responsibly.
Absolutely.
And if you drink
less.
God damn, take a Uber. Take an Ola, take a Uber, what do you say, rickshaw, or take a Uber bike or whatever, but please do not
Eat
drink.
well.
Eat well,
Drink lots of water.
Yeah, but I'll tell you, like cities like Bombay have become very, very strict in terms of your drinking and driving. Fridays and Saturdays, and unlike they're very, very strict out there today, right? And there will come a time where this will become a non-bailable, very punishable kind of an offense. You don't want to be in that aspect. So enjoy good things, but enjoy them responsibly, right?
If there's,
Last question.
yes, please.
So, marketing. So in every liquor store, like even in Bangalore, there's a Bangalore liquor store.
Achha,